Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello, people, and welcome to Footy Judgment. Welcome to the National League. Chelsea are in the quarterfinals. Arsenal in the quarterfinals. Man United are in the quarterfinals. Inter in the quarterfinals. And Liverpool are in the cup final versus Newcastle. This Sunday, tune into that. Of course, 4:30 UK time. Liverpool, Newcastle in for the double, the league and the Premier and the FA Cup. Of course, big up everybody that is here. Hit that like button, guys, if you just joined us. Of course, Bruno Fernandes started yesterday with a hat-trick hero to actually send Man United to the quarterfinals against Real Sociedad. They might make Champions League next season if they keep that performance to that second half. Up, of course. Liverpool play Newcastle after being knocked out, the Anfield Heritage. We have spoken about this on Monday. Tom is not here. I'm just saying it. Tom is not here. He gave us all this lecture about Anfield Heritage, and he's not here yet. He has the link. He's normally here, and he is not, right? Dan, of course, was at the game yesterday. We were speaking before the game, and he said it's one of the most boring games I've ever watched in his life. Yesterday at Stamford Bridge. Arsenal played Chelsea, the battle of the midfield, of course. We had a show with Don yesterday. And, of course, Ryan, Arsenal fan, we spoke about the game a little bit. But before I go on and just introduce the new panelist on the show, someone that a lot of you guys have not seen before, we got Rory, of course. Rory Talks Football on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter, a celebrity. Everyone knows Rory, of course, with everything that is going around now. We got Dan, of course, with his channel in the description as well, ripping Chelsea, of course. Fantastic content as usual. Sorry. And we got Staffy TV, waking up. Happy Ramadan, Staffy. May Allah, inshallah, accept all your good deeds and fasting from all of us. And, of course, we got, of course, Jamie Story. Is that how you pronounce your last name?
Yeah, Jamie Story. S-T-O-R-Y.
All right.
So,
then.
the football story.
The football story. The football story, of course. I came across his content, absolutely brilliant content. He's a Liverpool supporter. He's just not showing it for some whatever reason. He has Ronaldinho in the background instead of having Gerrard. And he's a Liverpool fan. Liverpool fan, of course. But big up everybody that is here. Where do we start? Man United. Bruno Fernandes hat-trick. No, I know none of you watched the game. I know only Staffy watched the game.
I watched it.
You did?
Yeah.
What do you make of it? Bruno Fernandes, response to criticism. What do you make of it then?
No, Bruno Fernandes is a very good player. and he's been a big player for United this season. I thought the penalties were a bit soft, but he converted them.
Do you know that I thought the 3 penalties look soft, right?
That referee was just an absolute menace. Like
Yeah,
I
thought he had a howler.
The 3 penalties. The penalty spot 4 times. One of them got overturned. The other 3 were soft. He gave out like 9 yellow cards in that game. It wasn't even like a feisty game. He was just... But no, on Bruno, yeah, very good. Very good.
He's a very good player, to be honest. A lot of people want him out. He's a very good player. A lot of people think that he's not good. And the problem is, I'm going to tell you what the problem is, guys, to be honest with Bruno Fernandes. I know that Danny didn't watch the game. So he had this performance, Bruno Fernandes. He scored a hat-trick, 2 penalties, provided some clear-cut chances to his teammates. But there's that one free kick where he could have crossed it in the 18. And instead of crossing in the 18,
shot it.
He tried to shoot, and it went over the bar by about 30 yards. And I'm not exaggerating. It was like 20 yards over the bar. Completely over the bar. He was trying to trick the goalkeeper. The problem is, Man United fans, and I'm calling Man United, he left everything he did in the game, and they're up, watch, up. That's it. This is why we don't like Bruno. So you leave everything that he does in the game, all the passing, all the defending, scoring penalties, see, I don't like that guy. He's rubbish. Get him out of my club.
I don't think all fans did that. There's a select few.
Some. You get my point, Staffy. Like the people that don't like
I know
him,
what you mean.
The people that don't like him cannot be objective.
No, of course. And actually, I put a tweet earlier this morning. He when he got the hat-trick ball, his you know how when you get a hat-trick ball, sometimes your teammates just sign it because they just keep that ball for a long time. So someone wrote on it, and we don't know who it is. We just saw it because he was posing with the ball. It said, "You were still shit in the first half of the season." So one of his teammates wrote that. And I forgot what the other one was, but basically they were kind of dissing him jokingly.
Okay.
Saw that, I was like, this is a great opportunity to tweet about this. People who don't like Bruno don't want to give him, and Mo, me and you actually spoke about this a couple weeks ago. People who don't like Bruno don't want to give him praise for the last few games. I don't like Bruno, but I give him praise for what he's done. I just always said Bruno's not my cup of tea. When you ask me, how do you envision this United team winning the league one day? I don't see Bruno being our best player. Equally, I can't look at this current squad and be like, yeah, he's our biggest problem, because he really isn't. And at the same time, in the beginning of the season, he was horrendous. He even came out, I think it was after the Man City game, and he said, we kind of have to question ourselves, why don't we have more of this performances? He's including myself, because I haven't had a performance like this in a while. That's him admitting in the beginning of the season, not the beginning of the season, sorry, in the first half of the season, that he hasn't been performing well. When he was getting sent off 3 times in the first half of the season, everyone had a right, including myself, to sit there and say, he's a bad captain, he's not good enough, da-da-da-da-da. But when you look at the last 6 to 7 games, this is some of the best football he's played at his time at United. Now, you can eventually get to that point where we're a good team again and say, hey, is Bruno the guy to carry us over the line when we are more of an established team, a polished team that just needs that extra step to win a Premier League or a Champions League or whatever? That's a conversation that I could have at that time. Right now, when you look at the squad that we have, there's no way you can look at Bruno and just not give him credit what he does. And you know what's funny, Mo? The same people that will sit there and say, oh, I told you about Casemiro. Oh, he's our best midfielder. These people are the same people that haven't said a single word about Bruno over the last 6-7 games. Even though, no matter how good or bad we play on the day, he's the one that chips in with the goals. I thought he had a horrendous first half, by the way, because I want to bring you back to the game a little bit. His first half was horrendous. I'm not buying that he had a great game. But at the end of the day, he did convert 2 penalties. And I said this yesterday on my stream, and it just actually, like, I clocked it yesterday. For someone who's so erratic in his football, the way he's so composed when he takes penalties is insane. You know, in the cartoon when they have the angel on one shoulder and the devil on one shoulder? When he's playing football from open play, the devil's speaking to him. But when he's taking penalties, it's the angel speaking to him, because he's so calm and collected. The way he places a penalty just doesn't represent who he is as a player, because he's completely opposite. And listen, at the end of the day, you look at United yesterday, when we were up 2-1, I tweeted, I was like, bro, let Bruno just get his hat-trick and let's wrap up this game and leave. Because I looked at Højlund, they were treating him like they were treating some kid in the, you know how they're treating Aisho Speed in the charity game. Oh, let's just let him get his goal. Everyone help him. Everyone pass him the ball. That's what they were doing.
Can't have this in the beginning of the season.
The sympathy penalty. At this point, I feel like this kid needs a sympathy penalty. He was shocking. Well, actually, sorry, he wasn't shocking. He just couldn't finish his
Darwin Núñez, literally Darwin Núñez.
He moved for one. You know what? When we praise him for movement, just know that that's something, because he gives us nothing. He generally just does cardio every game. You had Xerxes, while that had a very good game, but he couldn't score a couple chances. And you had Garnacho's being Garnacho. This United team is screaming out loud for a killer. They need someone up front that when we create chances can not just score, you need to get shots on target. We were actually not getting shots on target. And I was like, if anyone's going to finish this game for us, it's going to be Bruno. And he did. And listen, he gets his hat-trick. I think he's the first midfielder to score a hat-trick for us in Europe, in a European knockout game since like the 60s. That's an elite company to be in. You're gonna
get Sancho back.
Yeah, but they're gonna pay us to take him back. I'm okay with that. Yeah, give me money.
Who's paying?
They gotta pay us because they have an obligation to buy.
No,
no. Yes, they do.
No, they won't.
Yes, they do. They have an obligation to buy. If they don't give them, if they want to give them back, they gotta pay us now.
But I don't know how much it is, Staffy. Do you?
I don't know how much it is, but it's money's money.
I don't know. I think 25 million is the payment clause that's there to buy him, but I don't.
So the penalty cannot be more than 2 million.
Can't be more than
I don't know what it is, but I'll take it. You basically are paying me money to take my asset back that I could still move on and sell anyways. Great deal. Thank you so much.
But Chelsea may not want the hassle of having to try and move on that asset because it could be now incredibly difficult.
I thought you can sell. I think you can sell Sancho because you're gonna get. Because here is the problem. I actually think it's a necessity for Man United to win Europa League more than anyone else. If you don't, I was listening to someone. If Man United don't make that Champions League money, I think there's no rebuild for Ruben Amorim. There is no money for rebuild.
They're broke.
There's no money for Amorim rebuild. You have to, this. I think. I was listening to someone. He said every game for Man United in Europa League is their game of the century for them since Alex Ferguson left. Every game now. This whole project relies so much. The speed of this project relies so much on them getting Champions League football next season. Who's going to choose Man United if they don't have Champions League and they don't have money? At least if they have Champions League, they have something to look forward to, the players that they want to bring in. Yeah, so and the problem is every time if Man United don't make Champions League, they literally have no money to buy players. They have to sell players. And if you're talking about Sancho, I'm sorry, 25 million that you're gonna get from Chelsea don't get you anything in this market. Don't get you anything. The Dorgo is more expensive than this at 19 years old. And how much you're gonna sell Rashford for? So the problem is, I think if they don't make Champions League, that sets them back about 3-4 years again. 3-4 years again. If they make Champions League, you jump by 2 years or something to rebuild this Amorim team. Because if we believe Ruben Amorim is a good coach, do all of us here believe that Ruben Amorim is a good coach or no?
Dan doesn't. We had this discussion before.
I'm still not sold, Staffy. To be honest, I think he's a good coach, but I've not been. I think Manchester United should be doing better than what they're doing currently. I don't think it's purely on the players. I think Ruben Amorim has to take some of the stick for it. But I still think he's a good coach. Yeah.
I think
the club itself is just twisted.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
the club itself is just twisted.
Is it?
I think you can put Guardiola in it now, and I think over time he would improve it. But I think if he was to go into that dressing room now and that club, that foundation, he would struggle to get stuff out of those players as well. Even when Guardiola first went into City, it took him a little while. Like he finished fourth in the first season. It took him a little while to get his players and then to go on and do what he's obviously done. But like United as a club, you think with Amorim and like obviously with Ineos coming in that it was going to be this kind of new era, but they've gone backwards even more. And I think when Jim Ratcliffe was talking with Gary Neville in the Overlap podcast earlier today, he was saying about the management teams before and all the issues that they had and how he put them on the brink of bankruptcy. And I think now we're seeing kind of a little bit more of that because he's able to talk about it, what happened previously. Like they were like nearly went bankrupt in like this year if they hadn't came in.
Yeah, November they would have run out of money if Jim hadn't put money in.
That's mental. That is mental. And like he's already burned through all the money that they have at the minute. It kind of, I know all the.
Did you see his
optics
face,
of
by the way? He looked pretty depressed, didn't he? That money's already all gone.
Yeah. Well, he's like putting 300 million. He's like, yeah, that's gone.
Yeah, gone.
But the optics of all like the lunches and everything like that, it's terrible. But like, I'd say he's just scrapping and scraping for everything to try and get like just even more money afloat because of the situation that they're in. And yeah, you can talk about it. If they get Champions League, it obviously will help them a lot. But like, it's a big ask. Like, it's basically if they don't get Champions League, they could be set back like another 5-6 years if they're able to come back, which obviously they're thinking that they will be.
The thing
That's
about
why
that,
they set their
I believe they
budgeting,
can
they
win it.
said.
Actually, like I believe
What,
they
the
can win it.
Europa?
Actually, yes.
Nah, they get knocked out by Leon.
Yeah. There's much better. There is better team. Even Spurs.
Rory,
Like,
it's so depressing, Rory. They're like, no.
I'm not
They're
joking. I'm not joking. I think
He's-
Leon-
I don't think he's
Dude,
lying, Mo.
Are they favourites to win it?
No, they are not.
They're not
Actually, do
favourites to win
you
it.
guys know who the book is for the favorites to win it, right?
Spurs, probably.
Spurs.
Yeah.
Spurs is not. Spurs are definitely not favorite. I'll tell you what.
No,
Spurs, they played their best
that's favorite.
football.
The book is.
Yeah,
The
no.
book is put Spurs the favorites to win the tournament. So you
And
make
always wins something second season.
The thing is, it's because of the side of the brackets they're on. It's because even if United get past Leon, then they've got to face probably Bilbao,
Yeah,
and they're not going to beat them either. Whereas
we
on
don't match
Spurs
up well
side,
with these two teams. Yeah,
But
But to be honest with you,
Has-
Bilbao should have been out if it wasn't for the Matt Hummels red card. To be honest. Bilbao lost at home 2-1 to Roma.
Maybe
yeah,
Rangers
that red
got
card for
smart.
Hummels was a disgrace. I mean, there's no knowing if they'd have still come back and won that fixture anyway. But yeah, that red card was outrageous. But yeah, for United, so I saw yesterday. So far this season, Arsenal have generated 108 million euros from the Champions League just for getting to the quarterfinals. So
Yeah.
that's like if you don't qualify for Europe at all, which is what will happen to United if they don't win it. You're talking like, even for Villa are going to have generated 100 million. That makes it so difficult. And it's not even just in terms of like the money that the club's got, but when it comes to PSR and being able to spend the revenue that you're generating, 100 million of like pure revenue, it's tough. It is tough.
So even the situation that was going on in the January window where there was talk of Garnacho being sold, like that's all stemming from the fact that like they need to get money in order to be able to buy players, and they only went out and bought Dorgu as the only person coming in when they all knew that they needed more. And I think it's just going to be the same situation in the summer because like right now they're not complying with PSR, or they're on the brink of not complying, and yeah, they're going to need to sell a lot of players. Or even Mainu, like offering Mainu 200 grand a week, which I think you obviously do want to keep him at the club, but are they not putting themselves in the same situation again where they're probably maybe overpaying and going to get themselves in a stickier situation down the line? Whereas they could sell them and get, say, I don't know, 60, 70 million and then maybe just reinvest that the right way.
The problem is I don't think they get another Maino for
No.
Like-
No.
like
Well-
I get it. If you sell Maino and get Baleba, for example, fine, that's fine. But
Yeah.
why would
Yeah, you
Baleba
can
leave
use-
Brighton to go to
But you can
United?
use the money to get someone that's maybe not of equal ability to Mainu, but that is more suited to Amorim. Because I think with
or more,
Mainu, there's still
or more
a bit
experience. Or more
of a, or more
And
experience.
they can pay-
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, they can pay it over like say if they get the Mania money for say 60 million and they bring someone in for 60 million, that money is like 10 million a year, whatever the contract is, rather than say they have no money and they just have to rely on Mania, who this season I think is catching up with him last season where he's playing so much football at such a young age and now he's starting to get injured, and that's just not what you want. You know what I mean? So if they could get that money and reinvest it in a player that maybe Amorim thinks would fit into his
They should
profile,
go,
then
they
I
should
think that
sell
would
him
be
and
better
go and buy
long
Adam
term.
Wharton. Like Adam Wharton is better than Mainu in my opinion. I think he'd suit the
Adam
system.
Wharton wouldn't
Yeah.
go near United though.
You don't think he would, Rory? You
No.
think he's better than that?
Yeah.
Wait, have you got hopes that he goes to Arsenal?
No, I don't think
Oh.
Arsenal will be in for him. He ends up at. I would imagine he ends up at City or Liverpool. To be honest,
Straight away? You think he just goes
Yeah.
straight to him? Yeah.
Well,
fair.
there's no United from Palace at the moment. It's a sideways step. It's a pointless move
Unless
you may
they
as
have
well-
Champions League football.
unless they have Champions League football.
Yeah.
But,
Technically, he's going down because like they're lower in the league.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's
No,
the same sort of step of like Rashford taking the step to Villa to guarantee Champions League football. The same with Asensio.
By the way,
yeah,
you guys
uh,
established that Wharton is better than Meno. I completely disagree. By the way, this is not,
and really,
it's not a given.
Adam
It's
Wharton's
not a like you guys spoke about it as a given.
It's
Yeah,
a
but I
topic
know
I didn't
what-
sign up for today, so I have no interest in it, honestly.
I know
don't
what
where this
Wharton
came
is. That's the difference.
from. He's a good player. I like him a lot.
Is I like Wharton. I think he's a very good player. I think Meno's more talented than him.
I'm just
to be
not.
You
I
think-
know we're not selling Meno for Wharton. Like that's not a move that's gonna happen.
Did-
If Meno ever leaves, it will be to distribute that money on younger talent across the squad. So it wouldn't be a direct 1-for-1 replacement. Like let's say you sell Meno for someone around 70 to 80 million, whatever it is. That 70, 80 million is going to be spent at least on 3 young talents. That's what it
but
is.
You
Because
could,
there's no
you could
point of
divide that
getting
80 million up, Staffy,
Because
so
no
that
one
if you did buy Wharton, only part of his money would be used out of that 80 million for a number of seasons.
The thing about it, guys, is like,
Yeah.
I actually think Meno is a very good player that Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, anyone can use him. Like if
I
Man
don't
United
think he suits Amarim's system at all.
he doesn't
He's
have
kind
a
of in
spot
between,
there.
isn't he?
Yeah, I don't think he suits.
He's a
it
he's
at
a
all.
he's a number 8 in a midfield 3. He's like an
Yeah, in a
Odegaard.
3 exactly.
Yeah,
And I
man.
just don't see Amarim deploying him in his.
Yeah,
correct
like
position.
but I
You know what?
like his talent. I think he's so talented.
Yeah, I think he's a great player. I just don't see him fitting into that system. United are in between a rock and a hard place at the moment. They either back Amarim with 300-400 million pounds of systematics, like players that might not be good going forward if you sack the manager, and or they don't back him and they get someone else in who can sort of do anything with a squad and be a little bit more pragmatic.
Yeah. Anyway, listen, I'm expecting if Man United win Europa League, I'm expecting them to like really, really jump 2 years in the process with
Yeah.
Amarim. If they don't, I think we won't see this club challenging for another 5 years unless something dramatic happens. Because I think they have no money, to be honest. This is just a fact.
We'll just
I
buy
think-
more Aiden Heavens. Thank you for that one, by the way, Rory. 1 million.
You're
Great
welcome.
deal. Thank you so much.
Is he?
It was
He's
1
another
million.
mid. So
Good
Heaven, Lenioro next season with Delict in the middle. I think that work.
But that
I think
sums
I'll
up
get-
everything.
I think that'll get you 11s.
It sums up everything that was previously wrong with United. The fact that they got Heaven for 1 million and Lenioro for 60 million. And I'm not sure there's a huge difference in level between
Yeah.
them.
Well, we gotta add the context. The only reason we had to go to 60 million for Euro is because we had to fend off Real Madrid.
Yeah, but you didn't have to do
Realistically,
that. You could have just turned around and said, we're not spending 60 million on an
No,
18-year-old centre back.
you had to do that to get him.
Yeah, but you
why-
should have just turned around and
why
said,
him so
no.
specifically? When you didn't
That's what
even
I'm
know
saying.
that
Because
when
everyone
now-
Oh,
was
that's
talking
a
about him
recruitment
then.
decision.
Because,
Everyone-
yeah, but okay, it was. But now Jim Ratcliffe's come out and said he actually regrets extending Ten Hag's contract. So they even had doubts at the time that Ten Hag was the man to go forwards, and they were
Yeah.
still willing. And I said this at the beginning of the season. I said to every United fan I spoke to, and I got shut down every single time. I said the signings you are making are influenced by Ten Hag. No, they're not. No, they're not. It's by Dan Ashworth and Omar Barada and all these people that are coming in. No. He comes out in an interview and says, hence why there were so many Dutch players recruited in the summer. Like,
No, but he
it's-
didn't say it
of
was
course-
okay.
of
So
course he
he
had
didn't say it
influence
was
by Ten
influenced
Hag.
by Ten Hag. By the way, I agree
Yeah,
with you
he
because
did.
I don't
He
like how
said
many
hence
mistakes
why
have
there
happened
was-
already. No, but he said he had. So they asked, was he basically picking the signings? He said no, but he was told about the signings.
Hence
So,
why
when
there
you
were
say
so many
influencing
Dutch
Hen-
players recruited. I think that's
No,
pretty
but
much
then
word
here's
for
the
word.
difference. What I'm trying to say, because I think Euro is irrelevant to this because it's not like Euro's Dutch. So we
No,
can't
but
even use this
I was going to get
reference
onto that point about Euro. It's another manager that was probably another manager influencing the signing that actually was wasteful, and that's what Rory's saying. You didn't have to go for him at 60 million. You could have identified a type of player that you felt was right for the squad at a more affordable rate than 60 million because his price was being drastically increased by Real Madrid interest.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We can talk about how much we paid for him. At the end of the day, I said the context of the 60 million is that another big club came in for him.
But
we
that
had to
60
persuade
million
him
was
to go
like
away
your
from
last
that.
fiver, and you spent it on something you didn't need. Like it's like you bought an
I think-
Easter egg when you
I
literally
think
didn't have
Euro's been
bread
amazing
and
for
butter.
us,
What?
and he's only 18. I think he's
Hold
been
on,
amazing. For us in his own-
amazing.
Drastic.
been
gamble,
amazing.
Staffy.
for an 18-year-old.
Amazing stuff.
He got-
Stop
For an
it.
18-year-old,
Stop
that's
it.
very
Hold
pretty
on,
played.
hold on, hold on.
There's not
Hold
even
on,
guaranteed
Staffy.
value in him at the moment.
I
He's
don't
probably
think-
gone down in
okay.
value.
Staffy, for 60 million, you should get a Gabriel. I'm
But
sorry.
we
get
paid
three
60
$20
million
million
for a
pound
decade,
million.
though.
For 60
Gabriel
million,
cost-
you should get
Gabriel
a,
cost 30 million.
like for 60 million, you can get a
Yeah.
Bastoni. You
Wait,
can get a
but Mo,
Konate.
Yeah,
You
Bastoni
can get a
would've been good,
Konate
Mo,
for
we
60
paid
million.
60 million for a decade of this player.
Yeah, but
Like,
Arsenal
you
paid,
understand-
But you weren't in the right
60
position to
million.
do it.
This is what I'm saying though. When Arsenal were in a similar position to United in terms of needing to budget things, Arsenal spent 60 million on Gabriel and Saliba combined, and that got them a decade worth of talent. I think that's what we're saying. It's like with Euro, you paid what you'd expect to pay if he'd already been in the Premier League for a couple of seasons and proven himself. You know, if he'd moved from France to Palace and then put in
It's
two
like
decent
Wesley Fofana
seasons.
going to Chelsea.
Saliba
Yeah.
wasn't team of the season when you guys bought him. No one knew Saliba. Euro was team of the season in League On last season. That's why he had a lot of attention.
The thing is,
The
it's-
situations are
now
Saliba
terrible.
wasn't 50 million though.
yeah, but we
Yeah,
also
that's what I'm
know,
saying.
we know the
There's a
situation
reason why he
Manchester
wasn't.
United. Yeah, but we all now know factually the situation Manchester United were in that summer transfer window. The fact that on the horizon, 3 months away, you were going to run out of money. You decided to spend £60 million on a centre back that isn't ready to improve your first team instantly. You're doing it. You're battling against Real Madrid, a superpower in football that have money anywhere at their disposal and also have the ability to sign players on a free and at reduced rates, apart from their wages. And you decided as a club to go and support that signing, whoever was suggesting it, either Dan Ashworth potentially or Ten Hag, both now no longer at the club. It's so crazy that you'd be willing to risk 60 million. Like Rory is saying, that you could have spent 30 million, you could have spent 20 million, you could have spent 20 million on 2 different centre-backs, combined 40, and you might have had players that are good enough to come in and do the job that Euro's done this season and still have money in the bank that Manchester United can run the day-to-day.
I don't think Euro was an issue at all. It's not like we spent 60 million on the spot. You're talking about 60 million in installments.
It's the
I think
same-
you're
it's
missing.
the wrong
Sorry,
timing.
Dan.
Go
Yes,
on, mate.
I think
Go
you're
on.
missing the point, Staffy. Linioro himself is not the problem. The money that was spent at that time on Linioro from your board, knowing that we don't have money in the future, is the problem. Like Linioro himself might be a genius move. You beat Real Madrid to him. Fantastic, great. A lot of people wanted Linioro. Liverpool actually scouted Linioro and they were asking about him, but they didn't want to pay. The problem is the timing of that money, knowing that you don't have the money. When your CEO now or whatever, like the owner now or the guy that runs the club comes out publicly and say, by the way, guys, we're fucking broke. We're done.
I get you,
Like,
but
that is the
reason why
problem.
we're broke, it's not because we got him. It's because we were paying 60 million for Casemiro 2 years ago. It was because we were paying 80 million for Anthony.
Yeah, but it's like what Dan said. You were down to your last fiver. You were hungry, and instead of buying a sandwich, you bought a scratch card. Like,
Yeah. Lottery ticket. It's so true.
It could help you in the future, but right now you need a sandwich.
You bought a stock that you bought a stock instead of really, but you bought a stock that you think it's gonna boom in 5 years. It's gonna boom. No, everyone that tells you, bro, you're so hungry, bro, but I bought a stock, it's gonna boom in 5 years, bro. This stock is gonna make me so rich. Did you eat today? No, I didn't, but I have the stock. It's literally the situation.
Yeah.
And it's still, and by the way, it's Staffy, that 60 million with some good management would have got you 2 players at least that will fill in 2 positions, not one youngster that will be good. I'm not saying that Linioro is a bad talent. I watched the guy. He's so good. He can be one of the very good center backs in England in the future. But the money was spent at that time, I think, with the shortage that you have now, especially leaving yourself in January was literally 4 forwards. One of them is actually out for the season now. It's a disaster way of managing a club. It's a horrible way of managing the money.
Like how much did Forest pay for like Mikulenkovic or something like that? He would do an ample job in a Manchester United defence.
12 million.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And actually the signings of Dorgu and Mazraoui are actually far better budgets. And even De Ligt at a push are far better signings than wasting. All right, it's not a waste, but you're blowing that money that we've used all those examples for on a player that doesn't instantly improve your chances of winning a game of football.
Yeah. Anyway,
poor Euro getting a load of heat.
Well, I mean, you can disagree, Staffy, but has he? Because I think at the moment that point is perfectly valid and true. So you're disagreeing.
He doesn't help us win a football game. I don't see how.
Well,
how
you're not 15th in the Premier League, so you haven't won that many.
So we're 15th because of one player.
Well, I'm saying,
but you could have got
So
2 players
because of the lack of other players.
Yeah. No, but you could have that 60 million could have got you. Okay, Staffy, let's establish something. That 60 million could have got you 2 players or no?
Yes, of course, but it depends on what quality you're getting. Are you going for quality or are you going for
Well,
quantity?
not in Forest players that we use an example.
Do you agree that with good scouting, 60 million can get you 2 good players in this day and age?
I mean, with the right recruitment, of course.
Exactly, but that is the point. That is the point.
No, but okay, I get what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with that point.
Okay.
First of all, I don't even know how we got into Euro because he didn't
I
even
don't
play
know.
yesterday. It's just so weird that we got into that and we're discussing finances instead of talking about the game. I just disagree with the statement that we spent too much money for someone who doesn't help us right now. We'll see the better version of him, obviously, when he's later in his 20s. Of course, I don't disagree with that. But we're just sitting here and pretending that he hasn't been a good player for us this year. He has been a good player. He's just been unfortunate with injuries. He's out for a couple games now. I think he'll be back after the Leicester game. But to speak about him, like when we say instantly help us, it's not like we're going to sign anyone who's going to instantly make us in the top 6 or the top 4 this season.
No,
So
but you could have signed someone. You could have signed someone.
There's
that
no
would
two
make it-
center backs that would have made us top 4 this season because our defending hasn't been our biggest issue this season. We've actually been defending better than attacking this year.
Yeah, okay. We have to move on from another, but because of the time. But you could have signed someone that could have helped you massively in Europa League, for example, because on paper, Man United is the biggest club at the current moment in Europa League. Are you the best team? No. Do you actually on paper have the best coach? Yes. On paper, Man United have the best coach in Europa League. Am I wrong to say that? Ruben Amorim is a proven winner.
Sure.
Right?
Bilbao's manager Valverde is pretty well respected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I hear
Barcelona,
that.
isn't he?
Yeah, Valverde. Yeah, it's very.
He's up there, isn't he? He's in the
point.
debate, Amorim. Like if
Yeah,
Sporting were
yeah.
in the Europa League, he'd be considered one of the favourites.
He'll be
to win it.
considered one of the favorites, but that's the whole point. They could have given it. For example, if they didn't buy Euro, Ruben Amorim could have had a couple of 60 million probably in January to spend. And it's not that Lin Euro played a lot of games this season. It was always Mazraoui, Maguire. Lin Euro was injured. Yeah, he was injured. He was injured. But I still believe that Lin Euro would not have played a lot of games. But anyway,
I think Staffy, just quickly, Mo, just to end then. I think quickly what we're seeing here, right, is that Staffy, you're sort of confusing the fact that we're sort of disregarding the impact Euro might have had as a player, whereas we're suggesting that money in those funds should have been allocated elsewhere to improve Manchester United's chances.
No, I thought listen. There was a balance of where the money was spent in the summer. So you look at some signings. De Ligt, I thought value for money. He's not my cup of tea, but I thought he was a decent sign. I think he was like about 30 million, which is not a lot for someone with his experience. Basically, the way you guys are explaining how the 60 million should be spent, you'd probably be arguing you should have signed 2 De Ligts with that 60 million that you got Euro.
Yeah,
because
I
that's
think
basically De Ligt is who you're
all the money
describing.
you spent,
Experience, can play right now and half the price. And then they got Mazraoui, who was 12 million. And then, as I mentioned, we took someone from Arsenal's academy who was ready for first-team football, couldn't get football there, came to us, and he cost us under $1 million. So when you really balance it out, Euro got the biggest chunk of money.
Yeah, but
all these little signings with cheaper
why
money,
were you so shrewd and getting
value
value for money options, and then you all of a sudden out of nowhere completely?
But he was the only non-value for money option.
£60 million centre back who is a lottery ticket for the next 10 years.
He was the only non-value for money signing because the way you're describing
why, Staffy? If you were in such a predicament with your finances, what we're suggesting is that 60 million is so rogue compared to all the other signings you made. Why do it?
We're going in circles, by the way.
Yeah, we are, but I
get what you're saying.
In the interest of balance, Chelsea today have spent apparently up to 75 million euros.
What? No way. That's not 75 million.
I heard 40.
Sport Witness is saying that Sporting expect to receive up to 75 million euros once, all in, eventually. So, but call it 40 or 50. Either way, a hell of a chunk of money for a 17-year-old wing-back playing in Portugal who isn't going to move to the Premier League until 2026. I'd say, in fact, if we're talking about immediate impact for Lenny Yoro, that's at least he plays.
That's an investment. That's an investment.
Yeah, but again, Chelsea are in the same position where they should be investing.
Pick up AMT. Talent-wise, no biasness. Miles Lewis Kelly or Lenny Yoro?
Miles Lewis Kelly, both.
Yeah, MLS.
Definitely.
Lewis Kelly. Yoro's only started 7 times for United in the league. You know what I mean?
By the way, Jim is lagging for me only. The sound is behind the picture, or is it?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't let that sound. What has Lewis Skelly done for him to all of a sudden just get 3 cosigns like that?
Well, he's played
been
more
good.
than Lenny
He's got
Yoro
as
this
many
season for
cosigns
a
as
team
red
that
cards
is
this season.
It's
What is
triggered,
going
it's
for
on?
a team
triggered.
that is
Staffy.
far better. He's
I was
doing.
about
He's
to let
falling
it
out
go
in the
because I actually
Champions
don't
League.
care. But generally, I don't get what he's done. Like, and I like him, by the way. So this is not coming from someone who doesn't.
Number
think
one,
a
he's
good player.
called in England. He's called Thomas Tuchel called him for the England national team. That's number one.
Well, he's come from the academy.
I
He's
mean,
pushed his
the
way.
country has no left back, so I get
He's
it.
pushed his way to basically first choice left back at Arsenal, who are second in the league and fighting in the Champions League. He's got an England call up. He can play in midfield. He's effectively playing out of position at left back at the moment.
Yeah.
You want to talk about
Technically
talent?
very
Talk
good,
about
physically
talent.
very strong for a 17-year-old. Mentality is top. Excellent ability on the ball. I mean, he's shown way more than what Lenny Yoro's done in United.
I'm convinced you guys haven't
And
watched
that's
Lenny
not
Yoro
being,
this year.
that's
I'm
not
really
being
convinced.
irrational, is it, Staffy?
I'm really convinced. I'm honestly convinced.
Lenny Yoro's been
I'm
like
actually
a
gonna
No,
make,
Sam,
I'm gonna give you.
He's been
guys,
injured.
Looking from outside, I'm just gonna give you
If
that.
he's been
rationale about
injured,
this.
how could you say that he's not a good player?
I saw him
Someone-
against-
You haven't watched.
I saw him against
Someone-
Sulemana.
Someone who
Oh,
started.
so the easy cop out is the one game where he performed very bad. Let's just use that one game. Which
Yeah,
game did
Dominic.
Lewis Skelly
Yeah,
get sent
Dominic.
off from? Because I'm gonna judge him moving forward.
I'm gonna tell you why Lewis Kelly, someone who starts for the second best team in the country at the current moment, week in, week out. Someone, yes, who had a record, but that's because he doesn't have any injury, experience in him. It's a lack of experience, which is Lenny Yoro doesn't have
By the
as
way,
well.
he
So
got,
they're
he got a
equal.
very he got a very similar red card. The only red card that was actually a legit red card. It was very similar to the one that Saliba got this season. So
Please, he should have been sent off against PSV. Let's not even sit here and joke.
Yeah,
That
okay,
second
okay.
tackle
Let
should have
me
been
give
red.
you
That would have
for
been
someone-
3 red cards in his
for
debut
some-
season.
for someone who is talented, but we haven't seen enough from him, that plays in the team that is bouncing between 14th and 15th in the league, right? Who plays next to Maguire, Delict, and Mazraoui, right? So definitely people would choose the guy that is starting for the second best team in the country. Which is
Wait, you started this show by praising Bruno Fernandes, who scored a hat trick in the same team that you're saying is bouncing between 14th and 15th.
in Europe. Yeah,
So-
but
so-
Lenny
so
Yoro
here's
has
the
not-
thing.
okay, I
We
can
either need
answer
to
you.
we need to establish this.
You
more.
called me
One
out.
second.
I can
Momo,
answer you.
One second.
I've been-
One second. One second.
Go ahead.
Because I don't do this United prop all the time. You know, I criticize my team more than anyone. But
Yes.
we gotta sit here and establish something. Are we gonna praise players who are performing well, regardless of how good or bad their team is, or are we gonna sit here and judge players and say, well, one is actually playing for a good team, one is playing for a bad team. Surely the one playing in the good team is better. Because I
No,
don't look at football that
There is
way.
more than this.
That's
Lenny
how the
Yoro
argument
has-
sounded like.
No, but Lenny Yoro has not actually showed me the ability that Miles Lewis Kelly did. I
How
watched
much
Lenny Yoro.
criticism have we actually put onto Lenny Yoro as well at the same time? We're saying we don't think he's had the impact that 60 million would deserve. But other than that, we've not really criticised him too much.
This
We
is a
just
very
said that
strange
Miles
conversation.
Lewis-
You
Yeah, but
said we
just
basically
said that Miles
wasted money.
Lewis Skelly
Like you
has
generally
done
said
way
the word
more.
wasted. You said we
Well,
wasted.
yes,
60
because I think wasted in the context of the funds that were spent at the time. But as a player, I think you've got an okay player. I don't think he's currently worth the value that was spent on him. But yeah, it is a lottery ticket. But ultimately, we're not saying that, oh, he's awful, he's never going to be this, blah, blah, blah. There was no reason Madrid should. We're not saying that. We're just saying that at this moment in time, the money could have been spent in other areas that were more impactful for Manchester United. But Miles
Martin
Lewis
Lewis,
Skelly has done more on the pitch this season than
If
Lenny
Miles
Yoro.
Lewis Skelly
That's
was
all
sold
that's been
today,
said
would
in
he
this.
cost 60 mil?
No one's who?
No,
Lewis Skelly, if he got sold today,
Probably
would he
about
be 60 mil?
45.
40, 45.
50?
Yeah, similar to Lewis Hall, probably.
Yeah, but Staffy,
No, I
if
bet
United,
more than Lewis Hall, I think, most.
Livramento level.
If United,
more.
if United,
They're
I think
30s,
Miles Lewis
I think
Skelly,
he's more.
Miles Lewis Skelly, I think would go for 60 plus, just because Arsenal wouldn't sell him for less than that because of his potential. But Lenny Yoro wouldn't be sold again for 60 million if United tried to sell him.
Yeah, I agree, Rory. I completely agree.
But the season he had this season, of course not, because he spent half of it injured, which is I think it's an
even last
unfair
summer,
way to
even
judge it.
last summer, Real Madrid wanted to spend what, like 20 mil
20
max.
20 million on him.
Yeah, so
I
that's
think
what
it was
he's
like
actually
30 something.
worth. That was what he was actually worth.
Anyway,
Yeah.
listen,
You
we're
paid
speaking
60
about his
million.
price
Okay,
add-ons anyways, so
Patrick is saying Euro was bought for 60 million for the hope that he can sell him for 100+ million down the line. That was the thought process. Real Madrid scouted him after all. There is a market for him. Thank you,
How long's his
Patrick.
contract, by the way?
Long.
I don't know.
6 years.
100 million, 100
years.
million what?
100 million on his wages because he'll go on a free transfer.
100 million.
Signing fee. That's what they're
I
I
saying,
think,
Rory. and
no.
generate profit.
He makes 118 million pounds a week. Sorry, 118k a week. 118 kills.
If Manchester United selling for 100 million in this current market, like I'd be not even just this season, but even in 4 or 5 years' time, I'd be surprised because players are running down their contracts now if they're good enough to go and play for Real Madrid or the better teams. They want the option, they want the freedom of choice. Very rarely are we going to see transfer fees like that coming up in this current market.
Yeah, big up, guys. We got almost 500 people in the house. Can we get the likes up a little bit? We only have 120 likes. Hit that like button, people. You guys have been slacking lately for the like button, and it's not helping YouTube algorithms. So hit that like button underneath your live chat. We have more votes than likes, actually, which is actually crazy. So hit that like button, people. Come on now. Help the channel. Help the show. Okay, moving on from United. Well, I want to actually hear Rory's take first before we go on and talk about anything. About what happened at Anfield, PSG versus Liverpool.
Called it once again. It was, look, I actually thought Liverpool played quite well. First half, I mean, I think I tweeted literally 30 seconds before Dembele scored, Liverpool had PSG on the ropes. The atmosphere was up, the tails were up, but that was exactly what we said on Monday could lead to Liverpool's downfall. It was that actually they're going to take the game to PSG, and that will leave them vulnerable in the transition. And that's exactly what happened. And then as the game went on, to be honest, I was surprised by Arne Slot's tactics, or not even tactics, substitutions, lack of substitutions. Surprised Jota played as long as he did, Diaz the same. Surprised they started, really. And it cost them. They created a few chances, a few big chances, didn't score them. And that was it. And I thought PSG had more in extra time as well. And they were able to bring on more attacking players, which Liverpool, other than Gakpo, who they didn't bring on till like the 101st minute, didn't really do.
Actually, I agree. I agree. I actually think the best team went through. The better team went through, to be honest.
Over the 2 legs.
Best team over 2 legs, 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Who are we speaking to, Mo? Who was, sorry, I can't remember his name, but there was a Liverpool fan on before that tie happened, both legs. And he was adamant like that PSG wouldn't be like too much of an issue and we were kind of overdoing it. And then ultimately it all played out exactly how we said.
Tom.
I can't remember who's. No, it wasn't Tom. Is another guest like for the.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Tom because Tom said that.
Tom
said,
yeah,
Tom sat here on Monday.
Jamie Phillips said it's going to be very tough.
I think who was it?
K-Mac.
That's it. It was K-Mac.
K-Mac said it was. Oh yeah. No, Mac said it would be tough. The problem
it would be tough, but he also said like,
Mac is the only one that after the game and said we actually were better than them. I'm like,
Tom on Monday said Arne Slot will have learned. Arne Slot will have learned. He'll play Jones at left mid. We'll have 4 central midfielders tucking in. Yada yada. We'll have Darwin up top, and Slot changed nothing.
But to be fair to Tom on that point, because I think Tom is very frustrated by the point that Darwin Núñez didn't get the minutes he probably should have had in a game like that. Was Darwin Núñez is so good in a game like that because he stretches the defense, he brings others into play. All right, look, he's hit and miss quite literally, but he does suit a game like that massively. And I just feel like Slot actually did miss a trick by not having him on.
To be honest with you, watching him for the 20 minutes or so, he should have not brought him in at all. The guy left the ball twice for nobody. Like Darwin Núñez was scared already.
The rhythm of that game, Mo, like adjusting as a substitute, it can be difficult, and that game was end to end and intense.
Maybe I hear that point. It's a very valid point that some players just do not adjust quickly to the game. If he had started the game, he might have caused something more than Diego Jota, who was absolutely horrendous. But I think Liverpool had no chance because Salah was absolutely shit. Actually. Was garbage. It didn't help Liverpool that the best player they have is absolutely garbage on the day.
Nuno Mensch locked them up for 100.
Yeah,
you know what? Can I debate that a little bit? I actually disagree with that notion that everyone is saying that Nuno Mensch locked them up in the first half, in the first game. I'm sorry. You know, in this game, Salah touched the ball numerous times inside the 18. He had
48 losses of possession over 2 legs.
Exactly, Staffy. Salah actually, Nuno Mensch actually was not worried about it. Salah did it to himself. You know, Salah passed the ball 6 times inside the 18 to PSG players. He attempted 7 crosses, succeeded in none. He attempted dribbles. He actually succeeded in half the dribbles he attempted. But after the dribble, in every single successful dribble, he missed the pass. He passed it directly to PSG player. It's not that Nuno Mendes locked him up this game. It's simply Salah was just shit.
I mean, when
Is
you
it-
lock
it
up
was-
someone for at least half the tie, that's still enough of a sample size to say you got locked. Even if it
Well,
was
yeah,
like slightly
you
over
know
50%.
what? Mentally as well, when you tied someone up for the first game, in Salah's head in the second game, he's going, I need to capitalize. There's more pressure because he's thinking,
Sure.
I might not get many chances again this game. And he did. He missed a couple of big chances early in that tie.
It didn't
You
miss him.
also
There
be
was
well
there was a
aware of-
clear
Oh, sorry.
there was
There
a
was
clear clearance from Mendes, and also like this is just a great defending by Mendes, to be honest. Like just making
Wait,
his
Mo,
body
can I say
bigger.
something on this though?
Yeah, go ahead.
Before we move on to other points of the game. I think when you watch Salah across those two games, you have to understand why now Liverpool don't want to pay that big contract. And I know this is going to upset a lot of people because yes, when you look at the season, he's still had a good season. But at the end of the day, big players on big money, franchise players, I should say, because Salah is a franchise player. When you look at him, these are the moments that you expect your big player to win you these games, okay? This was a tie in what? The round of 16?
Yeah.
And for 2 games, you've barely had anything. Like, I genuinely believe his Ballon d'Or campaign ended in just those 2 games anyways.
Yeah,
Because in
100%.
the
Yeah.
biggest moment of the season, you didn't rise. So now I got to look at it. And when Liverpool say they probably don't want to give him that much money and they probably want to move him on, I'm not discrediting anything he's done before this, but I kind of understand why they're going from here. Because they could easily find themselves in a situation where they pay him whatever he wants. I'm going to hypothetically say something like, I don't know, $500,000 a week. I don't know how much he makes, but $500,000 a week. And you extend it for 3 more years. And then every Champions League campaign, you get knocked out in the same round when you face matchups like this. And this is when Liverpool fans need to become a little bit open-minded and actually think, is it the right time to move on Salah or not? Is this the best way to say, this was a great farewell, we won the league with you, you got this amount of GA, but I'm not paying you whatever money you're asking for, and I'm putting that money in a future talent, because there's so much talent across Europe right now that is going to get snatched up soon. Let me just go snatch up someone else, and he can be my next Salah, aka my next star player.
The
Yeah, but
thing
that's
is,
a risk.
Yeah,
I
if
think
you
it's a
lose
risk.
Salah though.
And hey,
Like,
Jamie, go ahead, Jamie.
Yeah, like that's a risk as well. And I think, yeah, you're right. I wouldn't be giving them, say, 400-500 grand a week. I think that would be stupid. I think that's what FSG are saying. They're not going to give him that money, and that's why the contract is taking so long. And I think any player that gets over, say, 30, 31, FSG have shown that they don't give them players the big contracts. And it makes sense because we have seen players fall off, and especially in that Klopp system that we've seen a lot of players, when they do get over that age, they do start to struggle to play the same side of football. The one thing I would say on Salah is that, yeah, he had a poor game against PSG, but like he's 54 goal contributions this year. Even if he dropped off to half that, and Liverpool say they only want to give him 250 grand a week, like you're still going to end up getting 30 goal contributions across the whole season, which I think is worth it if they were to sign him
No,
again.
Jamie, but I'm talking about a price increase in his salary, not a lower. Obviously,
Yeah,
if he takes less money, there's no point of me having this debate. Of course, keep him on.
Yeah.
He won't
less
take
money.
less money,
I'm talking
he
about
will.
him
Yeah, no
trying
way.
to get more money. Because
Well,
that's
I
the whole
think-
debate this season.
Yeah, but
This is
I
his
think
final chance
I
for a
think-
big contract.
Well, I think it's the final chance for a big contract. But I'd say from his perspective, if he was to go to, say, Saudi, for example, then his Ballon d'Or is 100% gone because he's not going to be in contention to even be like playing in Europe. So I think from his point of view,
Unless
Well,
Egypt
now,
win the
though,
World
isn't it,
Cup
after those
2026.
things?
Unless
Well, you don't
Egypt
know
wins
if-
2026 World
yeah.
Cup.
But like,
Why are you
say,
laughing, Rory? Why are you laughing, Rory? Stop laughing.
Are you
Stop laughing.
qualifying
that-
for the World Cup in 2026?
Not yet.
But if Real Madrid or Barcelona win the Champions League, I think Rafinha or Mbappe will naturally be the ones to go for it.
I
But if you
think-
get
I
like an
think-
outside
yeah.
chip, like
If-
an Inter, then I think it'll still be up for Salah.
If Salah's only motivation to stay at Liverpool was to potentially win the Ballon d'Or next season, I think he'll be looking at it again. If I wasn't going to win the Ballon d'Or this season with the best season I'll have in my life, it's not going to happen, realistically.
Yeah.
So,
But I wouldn't be paying him the big money. I definitely wouldn't be increasing his salary next season to keep him. I'd be
no.
saying, right, we'll keep you on a year contract or a 2-year contract at the same wages or a little bit less. And he has to weigh it up himself as well. Like, I don't think Madrid are going to want him. I don't think Barcelona are going to want him in terms of like his wages and the
problem
players
is-
that they have. Nobody's around who's
Yeah.
going to take him. Do you know what I mean?
It's a mad situation that you could end up being in because really, if Salah leaves, you're kind of in that point where you need, other than Gakpo, who I do think is good enough, you need like an entire new front three, and you're not getting any money for Salah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I seen a crazy stat the other day about Jota. Yeah, a crazy stat about Jota. He hasn't scored in the Champions League in 4 years. Like I was,
Really?
I was like, that
hold
is
on, what?
mental.
Hold on,
Yeah.
I didn't. Okay, can
I
you say
thought-
that again?
How
in the
his,
group game?
he's always injured
No,
though,
he
isn't he? So how's
No,
his appearance?
he did an interview
remember.
leading up to the PSG game. It's like, this is if you score against PSG, it'll be your first goal in 4 years.
No.
How many games has he played in 4 years in the Champions League?
I don't know. See, they're in the
Are we
Europa League
talking
last
like,
year.
I'm pulling up Jota's stats now. That's outrageous.
Maybe
Bro, I'm sure Bruno Fernandes have scored in the Champions League
I mean,
He did
were
an
in the
interview.
Champions League
He
last
did an
season.
more
interview with it.
recently than this. Bro, oh my god, this is
here we go.
crazy.
So Jota in the Champions League in his career, 38 games, 6 goals. He scored in 38
That
games.
was the last one.
The
That's
last
right.
one was in
2021,
22.
2022. 4
Yeah.
years. And like, I don't like. Listen, I think Jota is he's been a great sign for what we got him for. I
He's
think
played
it was like
20. He's played 21 games in that
Since he
time.
last scored.
Yeah.
Including the one that he scored. So he's got
Right,
one
okay,
goal in
yeah.
his last
So,
21.
yeah. Wow.
And like that, and you think about a lot of issues that Liverpool had with strikers since Firmino's left, and Firmino is still in that kind of mix in the 2021, 2022. But like, Salah's been our main goal threat, and if we lose him for, I don't know, even if we lose 30 goals that he could get next season, like Liverpool are really struggling to get goals. And like, even this year, like competing with Arsenal, the difference has been Salah. And I know Saka's obviously been injured, but like Liverpool going forward, Kagbo, Diaz, they contribute in different areas, but Salah's been the big difference. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think if we don't have a ready-made replacement, that it would be a wise thing to do, because like that drop off could be from 1st to 5th. Is that big of a difference?
Right,
So
you've got to replace Salah. If the
Jota.
only real money you're going to get is for Darwin,
Yeah.
and you need to replace Salah, Jota, and possibly Diaz, I guess you get
And
someone
Van
like
Dijk.
Diaz.
We also Luis
Then
Campos.
potentially
Van
Van
Dijk,
Dijk.
Van
No,
with,
he's
Campos.
staying. He's
Then
staying.
you see-
I don't
You
know.
know what?
He
You know
He's
is.
what?
getting
You know-
tapped after that
Come
game,
on.
man.
you guys know what? Wallahi, logically speaking, reading the news lately, I am leaning now more on Van Dijk might be actually going.
No,
He actually might be
I
going.
think all 3 are gone. I've got
No.
a feeling now. I think all
No.
3 are
I'll
gone.
put money
Oh,
on
that
there with
makes
all
me-
these.
Do you know why I found the whole situation so weird? Because especially for Van Dijk and Salah, and when you look at the injury that Trent got, okay, it doesn't sound like it was like a horrific one, but
Yeah.
for Van Dijk and Salah, if they get an ACL now, suddenly their final big contract is up in smoke, and they've got no like security on that at the moment, and they're playing week in, week out. So
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if there's not like some sort of pre-contract signed somewhere with another club, because
They
it just
have
seems
to
like
have,
an
you're
insane
so
risk
right,
for them
Rory.
to be
They
taking.
have to have their futures secured. They have to.
Yeah.
But do you not think there's some talk about it as well, that if they were to come out and say they signed, and I know Van Dijk said it in the media that he hasn't, but like if they were to come out and say that they had, then it puts so much pressure on Trent to be like,
Oh yeah, no,
why
that's
haven't you
why
signed?
Liverpool would never announce it.
This
but-
is the
Yeah.
new
We'll talk
narrative
about
that
Trent.
every Liverpool fan tell us, which
It's
is
not a
I
narrative.
believe it.
It's just
a
a
narrative.
question. It's not a narrative.
It's a narrative because it's not only you. Sam said it, Tom said it, Jamie said it, Kim Max said it. Everyone that I work with said it. Rax said it. You know what I mean? Ram said it. Rom said it. Everyone said it.
We can rationalize.
The problem with this logic is why would Van Dijk say that there's no contract on the table? He could have said the negotiations are going. I like it. I like to stay here. You know what? I could have softened that. You know what I mean? That the
Yeah.
talk. You know what? If you are being directed by the club not to say that you signed the contract, you could say, "I love it here. I'm giving everything to the club. I want to stay more. We're still talking. We're negotiating. Blah blah blah." But to come out and say there is nothing on the table, you're basically calling out the ownership. You're like, these motherfuckers didn't offer me anything.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
think
I'm a free agent.
I think he has been saying that, and it was only since after the PSG game where he's come out and said he's like nothing's going on. I think there's obviously the photos that came out of him speaking with the PSG ownership and stuff. I think he was just more angry that like that situation that he was in. He was like, I'm still being asked about the contract, and now he's just like, there's nothing going on. Let's just move on. Do you know what I mean? So I think Van Dijk will stay. I think Salah is kind of up in the air. I think Trent is gone. I think that's
It's an
the word.
insane
I think,
situation. I do think it's been so badly handled by the club. Like no matter what way you look at it, to lose those players between the three of them, even a year ago, probably had a book value of 200 million at least.
Yeah.
Plus, yeah.
I think
Yeah,
the situation.
absolutely at least 200
the
million.
situation is as well is like they had a change of management last season, so like it's similar to like what United, but like coming in with all the debt that they have with Ineos. It's obviously not to the same scale, but like they're taking over a situation where this should have been dealt with like 2 or 3 years, like 2 or 3 years ago.
I can see why it's happened. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I just think FSG should have been like, whoever it was like
Number one priority.
You need to sort this is like you need to sort this priority now. Like whatever else is going on. So
No,
and then you've got Konate, who's about to enter the final year of his contract, and he apparently wants to move to PSG. Yeah, Robertson
and Allison. Does Allison want out as well?
Yeah, but they already got a goalkeeper, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we have the new best goalkeeper in Europe coming. So
yeah, but Mamadashvili and Allison are. You don't know how if he's going to hit the ground running or not. You just don't know with that. It's not. Manchester United was absolutely raved about. And look how that's
but it's mental to think if you lose in the space of effectively a year, if you end up losing Allison, Trent, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, Salah.
Yeah.
That's mental.
Lads,
by the way, Rory, for minimal amount of
I'm
cash.
worried as a Liverpool
fan. Oh, literally, possibly for nothing. Literally, possibly not for a single penny.
I think Trent is the worst one, like in terms of money. But I think with Van Dijk, the impact. I think Van Dijk. I know
Konate could be outrageous as well.
But I think if they don't get that contract sorted this summer, I think they'll sell Konate. I think they'll be like, right, we're gonna cash in because I don't think they're going.
Madrid will come.
This could be unbelievable.
Hold on, can we stop here? If Trent leaves, Allison leaves, Van Dijk leaves, Konate leaves, Robertson leaves, Salah leaves, bro, this is just.
Liverpool are cash flush. They're gonna like to spend 100 million on the bid 100 million on Casado. They'll go out and spend 250 million. We know Liverpool love to spend money, so it'll be all right.
Do you think those funds are available, even with the fact that you'll lose these players?
I think I think Liverpool are in a good position money wise to go out and buy players. If they get 75 million for Nunez, if they listen, worst case scenario, Salah, Van Dijk, Trent are off the books wages wise. If they do, the three of them do go and they sell Nunez, I think they will have money. They've earned a lot of money this season through the Champions League, like Rory was saying earlier on. And I think they could go out and spend 250, 300 million. Because it is, Liverpool are at that stage now where, similar to what the situation was with their midfield, where they just need a revamp, especially in the forward areas with like the players that they have there. So we'll see it.
Guys, I'm just going to tell you guys something, actually. I was going to about to record the video. I prepared the thumbnail and I was going to record the video. It's just right before the PSG game, how Liverpool will dominate the league next season. And then the game's over. And then I read the Van Dijk news. And then there's other news about Konate being might be sold if he doesn't agree a new contract with Liverpool because now he has 1 year left. And I'm like, okay, Liverpool are not going to dominate or whatever. I'm scrape this video. I'm done here.
Don't count us out. Don't count us out. You never know.
I am not. No. Hold on. Let me just say. I am not.
He's a magician.
I am not. These people, and I think all the panel here agree with it, these people can still stay. Salah still can sign a new contract. Van Dijk still can sign a new contract. And Konate, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying, looking at the situation now, it won't be out of the realms of possibility that if Liverpool completely next season go into a rebuild process, rebuild process, and we're talking about a completely different team.
Yeah, one thing I would say as well on the situation this season, I think Salah's having like an unbelievable year. Van Dijk has been so consistent. Like if Liverpool this year were put in the title race of last season, I think Arsenal are 13 points off where they should have been in comparison to last year, and Liverpool are 6 points better. So that's where the swing is. Obviously, Man City have fallen off because of the stuff that's gone on with them. But it's just everything is kind of fallen into place this season. And if we do lose the players next season, then that just mixes it all up. But I don't think any Liverpool fan, any rational Liverpool fan, was going to say this was going to be a team that's going to go on and dominate for years. Do you know what I mean? It's not a situation that we're in. So. Yeah, I think, listen, get the contract sorted. We'll win the Premier League, win the Carabao Cup hopefully on Sunday. And then, we're in a good position.
I was going to say something about Salah. Though. I think everything will be forgotten if Salah scores a goal in the Carabao Cup final. I promise you
Yeah.
guys. All this
Oh,
PSG
if we
shit.
win on
it's done.
Sunday,
It's
all the
done.
PSG stuff is like we have a trophy, we're out of the Champions League, and we're gonna win the
We're
Premier League.
gonna win
Like,
that. That's
I mean,
it.
I
It'll
think
be
the
over.
PSG defeat is so softened anyway because of the fact you've pretty much wrapped
Yeah.
up the title. I don't feel like there's despair over it from Liverpool fans. I think
No,
there's
I think we would.
frustration.
It would have been greedy if we had said we would have wanted the Champions League, the Premier League, and the Carabao Cups. You know what I mean? So we'll let
It's fine to be greedy in
we'll let
this situation,
someone else win the Champions
I think
With the
with
season you're
how you were
having, that's fine
performing
to be
this
that greedy.
season.
He's
Yeah,
like,
I
we'll
feel
let
like-
someone else. You got knocked out at your home.
No,
We'll
we'll
let someone else. You
That's
got
shocking.
knocked
I feel
out
like
at your home.
Mo, we're not
PSG,
talking
they've
about
never
that
won it.
enough,
Come
by the
on
way.
now.
We always talking about Anfield being basically the graveyard for teams that come there, especially in Champions League nights. I think we're really dismissing how I don't want to necessarily say how bad Liverpool was, but just how everything we usually associate Liverpool with when it comes to Champions League nights, we saw nothing of that against PSG.
we said this to Tom on Monday.
He
We
didn't
said
believe
to
us.
Tom on Monday.
If
I
you
wasn't
weren't
here.
here,
believe us.
he didn't believe us. He rubbished our. He's like, no.
Oh, everyone did,
Anfield
bro.
is different.
I'm
Sam
gonna be
did.
honest. I'm gonna be honest about right about because I think the knockout stages for Liverpool in the last few seasons haven't been good. Liverpool at Anfield have lost or not won.
Atletico
Sorry,
Madrid.
not
Atletico
not
Madrid.
won the last 6
Inter.
games at Anfield, and they've went
Okay.
through in some stages because they've obviously done well in the away games. But the last 6 ties at home in knockout rounds, we haven't won. I was 7 now against PSG. So, yeah,
Guys,
Wayne
Liverpool
Rooney
have
said,
been.
didn't he,
I've
was
been.
so
You're not
shocked.
buying, by the way, Mo. I saw that comment. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Liverpool
You're a
have been
better
knocked out against
equipped
Atletico Madrid.
Champions League team than Bayern are. I know people are
Okay.
going to try to tell you otherwise, but you're a better equipped.
The reason why I spoke about the heritage and Anfield, Atletico Madrid went to Anfield and won and was in. And that, by the way, that was the last game with fans. That was
Yeah.
in 2020. The
we
last
won the
game
league
with
that year.
fans.
So.
Exactly, but you got knocked on the Champions League with fans because we're
Yeah.
talking about Champions League night. Real Madrid won last season 5-2 after you've been 2-0 up, right? Inter, our team won 1-0. Yes, you went through, but we won 1-0 at your ground, and we are the only team that whole season that won at your ground, and that was in the Champions League as well.
Atalanta last year as well. 3-0.
Atalanta last year 3-0. So it's not like we're not talking about just one time. We're talking about multiple times over the past 3 or 4 years where European teams came to the ground and were not faced by the fans. And lately, PSG, they were not faced by the fans. That's the reality.
I think the PSG goal early, right? I think that took a little bit of like, it was almost like, the advantage that we had in the first leg after getting battered, like, was gone. So I think that kind of like took a little bit of the, like the, how do you say, like the suspense, like the elevation that was in the ground out of it. And then PSG fans were like, if you talk to a lot of Liverpool fans when they go to the Liverpool games, like, and I'm in a group chat with like a lot of them, like when you're at Anfield, like Liverpool fans are told to sit down and like not get rowdy and stuff, and the PSG fans, like, they had like a drum, they were going ballistic, they had tops off, like nobody.
Very toxic.
Yeah, like
Not
they were going
toxic.
ballistic. They were going not
That's
toxic.
good
It was
toxic.
good.
I like that.
Yeah,
toxic.
Good,
they
very
were
good. I
engaging
like
and
it.
they were like being good with their fans. And now I think there is a thing where like you have the tourist fans, which a lot of people talk about in the big 6 clubs now. But yeah, like I think the atmosphere was. I think after the early goal, I think if Liverpool had got a goal, then I think the whole thing would have switched, and I think Liverpool would have went on and maybe won by, or maybe not won by 2 or 3, but like would have went through if they had got a goal, and it would have went 1-1 because like there was a few chances, like the Donnarumma save, was
You
one
hit
where
the-
it was just
the
straight off the
woodwork
line.
about 3 times.
Yeah, like I think one of them goes in on another night, and then you're talking about like another Anfield magical night, but it just didn't fall for us tonight. And I think over the 2 legs, PSG were the better team, so they did deserve to go through.
Anybody, before we move on to the Arsenal Chelsea thing, anybody giving Newcastle a chance on Sunday?
Yeah.
Nah, really, are you, Roy?
It depends on the injuries, though.
Well,
Yeah.
Newcastle-
No Gordon,
No
Hall.
Gordon, no Hall, fine, not ideal, but they had the whole week off. Liverpool had 120 minutes against PSG. It just is a bigger cup final for Newcastle than it is for Liverpool in terms of how desperate they are for a cup. That could work either way because I think last time against United they completely shit the bed in the final, so it could
played better than
they
us
could
as
do
well.
that again.
They just didn't win, yeah.
Newcastle in their last they're winless against Liverpool in their last 17 games. The last time they won, it was against Steve.
Is Isak available?
2005, Steve McLaren.
Wow, so it's literally set up perfectly for a Newcastle win, then, isn't it?
Hold on. The last time Newcastle won against Liverpool, period, was 2005.
Steve McLaren was in charge, yeah.
Konate is a big. If Konate plays, but
He's
basically
fit.
whether or not Konate plays is huge for the fixture, I think, because you've got no
Slot said he's
trend.
fit.
If
Actually,
he,
you
He's
guys
not
are
playing.
forgetting
That's the
there is
bigger
a-
question. For me.
you know, guys, they have no right back because both
That's the
Trent
thing.
and Conor
That's what I'm
Bradley
saying.
are injured.
so
Yeah, but
you've got
Newcastle have no
Bonds
left
and
winger.
presumably
Yeah,
a
but
right
equally
back.
Gordon is out, Mo. So
Maybe we
that means
should
that area of
cancel
the
that
pitch
part
is
of
gonna
the
be
pitch.
Yeah.
I
I think
think
it's going to be
Newcastle
decided by
got-
the game winners, Isak and Salah. Like that, I think
Newcastle
Liverpool
have got
are
Harvey
reliant on
Barnes,
Salah.
right? Is Harvey Barnes fit?
Yeah,
I'm not
Harvey Barnes
sure.
is
Harvey
fit.
Barnes. Yeah.
Yeah, but they won't do that. They play Willock on that left. They don't play Harvey Barnes. They play Willock on the
Willock
left.
has Joel Linton.
They
do
play
that
Joel
against
Linton in the
Arsenal,
middle,
they
and
play Joel
yes,
Linton,
he can
don't
play Joel Linton, but I think they'll play Willock on the left and they'll play Joel Linton. But anyway, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Let me do
Yeah.
this couple of these super chats. I know Staffy has to go, guys. He has to go to football terrace, if I'm not mistaken. So straight facts with Lawless.
Don and yeah. Big up to all of you guys.
Don
Yeah,
man,
man.
Don as
Nice
well.
to meet
We'll
you,
see you
Staffy.
guys. See you, Staffy.
Yeah, big up to
bro.
the guys.
See
Jamie,
you.
nice meeting you. Mo,
Nice to meet you, man.
I'll see you on the next
Yara
show.
will come good,
See ya.
hopefully.
What's that?
Yara will come good for you, hopefully.
We'll remember this stream maybe a year from now. Hopefully, I can get it back on you guys. Peace.
See you,
Yeah.
stuff. All right. AMT here is saying regarding my super chat about Miles Lewis Kelly and Euro, to me, still early. Maybe when they are 21 or 22 years old, then we can see. But at the current moment, I think Lewis Kelly is rated higher. AMT, just simple. Wolves saying test if I'm still in hide on most channel. Someone blocked Wolves if I just blocked him, and I didn't know. So I went and unblocked you, to be honest. I was told that you were blocked, but big up, thank you so much. You're not in either. Jack is saying, Jack is a Liverpool fan. Is in essence, Liverpool will fall off a cliff.
Maybe.
Okay, Jack, if all these players leave, logically speaking, you will fall off a cliff. Like, there's no denying in this. If they stay, you will dominate.
I don't even
Yeah,
think we will dominate.
I don't think they'll dominate.
Yeah, I think next season, Man City with Rodri coming back, they're gonna invest again. Arsenal, like all Arsenal need to do is get a striker, and if Saka's fit, like they're gonna be in a really good position. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know if we'll dominate. I think Trent is gonna go, so we're probably gonna need to buy a right back. Bradley is good, but he's still gonna need cover. He does carry a little bit of an injury, and then we're gonna need to replace like Salah. So I'd say Nunes is gonna go. We're probably going to need another forward. Do you know what I mean? I think Van Dijk is the big one. Keep Van Dijk. The stability of the team is still there. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's easier to replace Salah than Van Dijk, actually, for Liverpool.
100%. 100%. I agree.
For Arsenal and Chelsea, big game. Rory's playing it down. He's like, he doesn't care.
Who are we playing this week?
Arsenal play Chelsea. Why you don't care, Rory?
There's literally one fixture left this season that I care about, and it's Madrid. We will get top 5. It's five now, isn't it? After last night, I think someone said it's guaranteed that top 5 gets Champions League.
It's
I
close.
don't know.
Maybe,
It is close.
maybe there's. I think we maybe need one of the English teams, including Chelsea, to win their quarterfinal to absolutely guarantee it. But it's like 99% done now. And so, yeah, like, I don't want to lose the game just because of our record against the Big Six in the Premier League that's at like 18 games unbeaten. And I don't really want to give Chelsea that sort of happiness. But in the grand scheme of things, don't really care.
I think it matters. You know what?
If Chelsea win,
It does, but it doesn't.
If Chelsea win, they
does.
chose it in the mix, though. They're on 52,
It
you're on
matters to
55.
what, though? Because they're not going to jump out of the top 5, though, are they? Even if Chelsea close the gap periodically for 2 weeks over the international break, off the back of that, Chelsea's running is so difficult that they probably won't close the gap much more than what they already have. Nottingham Forest potentially could go above Arsenal if Forest are more hungry to go and push that gap, but even then, Arsenal finished 3rd. They finished 4th. It doesn't change anything apart from
we went into
a couple of million financially.
No, we went to that conversation. I think if Arsenal finish 4th, right, or 3rd, or something behind Chelsea or Nottingham Forest, I think it does them big harm. in their chances of next season. This is my opinion. We spoke
you can
about
never
this.
explain how.
Arsenal was Arsenal
I did
was a club,
explain.
Rory. Sorry, Mo. Rory said it so many times. They know they've had so much misfortune this season that they're not gonna. It's not gonna
So
jeopardize.
you guys think they're gonna write off the season completely because of the injuries and the circumstances?
It's almost been out of their control in some sense. All right, some things they could have had a better. They could have had a better game plan. I think they could have. We've assessed that they've probably made some mistakes in recruitment or squad planning. But you can't write the injuries that Saka had. I mean, you can say that it's inevitable if he keeps playing that many fixtures. But the Kai Havertz one's a complete and utter fluke. I mean, I've heard how that's happened. It's an absolute joke. A number of other issues for Arsenal have been out of their control. The referee decisions this season have been hugely unfortunate for them at times, and there's been huge debate, and ultimately we haven't seen those decisions given again. I just don't feel like it will put Arsenal off of challenging.
I always think the team, if they finish second, I always think if they end the season well, I'm not talking about only second. I think teams like to have continuation of how they end the season. It is hard to
look at Liverpool, right, Mo? Liverpool fell off at the end of last season because of injuries, because of ultimately other teams probably pushing more than what Liverpool could sustain. And then this season, they've kind of reset, got a new manager in, a fresh voice, and they've gone again and they've pushed on better.
I have a very good explanation. Salah. In my opinion, the reason why Liverpool done this is that there is a dramatic change that happened at the club. So basically, there was no way to have a continuation of if it's good or bad of last season because of your main guy, Jurgen Klopp, has left. If for example, if Arsenal finish third or fourth, and they go and get a superstar, like I'm just giving a name, right? Like similar to an Mbappe signing, or they get a new manager. At that time, Dan, I think, last season will be completely forgotten because that is a new start. Because you have a new superstar or a new manager, like Liverpool. With Arne Slot, it was completely a new start, a fresh one, away from Jurgen Klopp. But because we know that Arsenal will have Mikel Arteta next season, and the signings that are on the table now for Arsenal are not superstars in the terms of like an Mbappe level.
But there's a good chance that we're going to have a new striker and a new left winger. So I think if you replace two of your front three going into a new season, I think that's refreshing.
That's a dramatic change. Maybe I hear your point actually, Rory. Like if you go and the start of next season, you have a completely new striker and a new left winger that's starting the season, that might be a new start completely for your season. Yes, I hear you on that. And there are news yesterday that Arsenal are actually going in for a £300 million summer window.
If they do that, then there's absolutely no way their confidence will be low. If they lift the squad with that much investment going into next season, they'll be just as hungry and aware that they have a serious chance of winning the league. They will.
That source is a bit iffy, but fine.
Even last year, we had this time of year when we'd been knocked out of the Champions League, and then we'd lost to Villa in the league, and then we lost to Bayern in the Champions League, and then suddenly the Athletic were reporting we had a £250 million war chest to spend in the summer, and I think it's not likely that we spend 300 million, but I think we'll spend a couple of $100 million. I think we'll refresh the front line.
Just about getting a striker.
Rory,
it's literally get a striker. It's like that change transforms Arsenal. Like, and it's something like I think everyone knows. Do you know what I mean? Like you throw Isak into that team, then that gap with Liverpool is nothing.
I feel like it's inevitable they're going to need a left-sided player that's good enough to step up in terms of goal contributions and a midfielder with the age of Partey and Jorginho as well. I feel like they're going to need that. I don't know how Rory feels about it, but
yeah, we do. We need a midfielder. Well, we need two really. One that can actually start and one that can develop, and then we need a left winger and a striker.
By the way, I wanted to actually ask, we had a discussion about the midfield of the two teams and who has the better midfield at the current moment in terms of the two teams, Chelsea or Arsenal. And Arsenal. What are we thinking? Like, who's having a better, who has a better midfield at the current moment?
Probably Arsenal.
Yeah, I think Arsenal. I think the form that Declan Rice is back in now, I think it's if it had been before Christmas when Declan Rice was struggling, I think you'd probably go Chelsea.
And Cole Palmer scored goals. Yeah.
True. Yeah.
How many goals he got in his last 2 games?
I honestly, I don't know the numbers to be honest with you, but he's in a bad place. Like he's in that, that moment you get like the players get into where their confidence is so low, they overforce everything. They're like forcing the goal, forcing the action, the shot.
I think he's 10 games without a goal or an assist.
Yeah,
I'm missing the
it's
penalty
bad.
as well.
I mean, ultimately, some of that is unfortunate because Jackson was massively off form, and there were moments where he could have had assists or help from other players on the pitch. But right now, he's in a horrible run of form, and I've said it so many times. But he's spending so much time in the left half space, and it's seriously limiting his output. There's no doubt about it. But a lot of people are sort of at Chelsea are still quite not drawn to that aspect of it. They don't believe that's the case, but for me, I think it's so evident.
Definitely is.
What are your thoughts on Maresca this season? Like, happy? Because it was obviously a good start, but
yeah, do you know what? I was just in the studio this morning with the guys on Twitch Fan TV chatting about Maresca in his season so far. I think he's done all right. And when I listen back to things that I said earlier on in the season, it'll be a roller coaster. I think for such an inexperienced manager, it's probably what's to be expected because he is inexperienced at the same time, and we've seen him have blips in form. I just don't think that's good enough for Chelsea to be employing a manager that comes with that blip of form. I just think Chelsea are a level above hiring Enzo Maresca to do his training basically at Chelsea at a top club. It just doesn't sit well with me. Yeah. But to be honest, the football has been so poor recently. But I understand that it's been bad because ultimately I think he's focusing on getting results rather than focusing on an attacking, attractive style of football. He'd rather get results and get himself Champions League football. I think he's well aware his job might be at risk.
He's going to get Champions League football, I believe. I believe Chelsea will at the end get Champions League
running
football.
is so tough. It is so difficult.
I think it's going to be
Newcastle.
Yeah, I think it's going to. I think the top four is. I think within a few game weeks, we'll be at the point where the top four is pretty much settled as being Liverpool, Arsenal, Forest, and City, and then it will be that race for that fifth spot that it comes down to. And I think Chelsea probably the favourite,
doesn't it? Though, because like City's, I know we're chatting Chelsea Arsenal, but City's form is just there's been so many times this season where we sort of started to get behind them and think that they're back, and they just have a random result that's so poor.
Guys, like City can lose tomorrow.
But they lost to Forest.
The Forest game.
But Forest are a very good team.
Yeah, but Rory, do you guarantee them winning tomorrow against Brighton, for example?
No. Well, no. I suppose not.
Exactly. That's the whole point. Even at home, we don't know.
City won that game pretty comfortably earlier on in the season as well. So I was so surprised at how that game went for City. But
like City play Man United that way, is that a guaranteed win?
No. Amarim will set them up like he.
Exactly.
I think the top three will be settled. I've got a feeling that Forest continue to just carry on and get themselves in it. I think Arsenal will be okay. Although I am worried about the fact that you've not been able to score goals in the Premier League recently. But I think that's the only positive Chelsea have going into this fixture this weekend. But I think in the long run, after the international break, you'll have enough players back, bar Havertz, that will get you through in a comfortable enough position. And then I think 4th, 5th, 6th could go any way. I just don't know how that finishes.
I'm not sure.
4th to 10th is an absolute free for all at the moment.
Yeah, but it was only a couple of weeks table. Yeah, Brighton are flying in the form table. If they continue the way that they're going, they could be.
They lost 7. What did they lose? 7-0, and then they haven't lost since.
Forest, and they've been flying before that game as well. I think.
I think Newcastle.
They were 10th that weekend, Rory, when they lost at the 7-0. They were 10th, and they've obviously closed up that gap. I mean, Villa are going to put together a late run. I'm pretty sure of it, unless Champions League football gets their way.
I don't think they will. I think Champions League.
Villa are going to focus 100% on the 2 games against PSG.
I think it's a real conundrum because actually, long term, they'd almost be better off going unless they're going to win the Champions League. They'd almost be better off financially sacking off the Champions League and getting Champions League football again next year through the league. It's so important to them financially for the position that they've left themselves in. And because that race it's not just the race for the Champions League, it's the race for Europe in general. You're only a couple of bad results away from dropping from 5th to 8th and not being in Europe at all next season.
Where are they now? Are they still sat in 10th or 8th or something?
8th,
they were 10th.
It's all and it's all the same. It's all between 47 points and 44 points. So one win can just put you 3-4 spots and can put you down like just.
I was saying this the other day. I can't remember who I was saying it to, but Chelsea and maybe it is Chelsea and Villa and potentially one other team have got the European football as a massive distraction, and it's you have to decide, like what Rory was saying, is it financially worth competing for these Champions League, Conference League positions, or spaces in a final when actually you lose out on Champions League football? It's financially.
No, but to be honest with you,
100 million
your
minimum is a lot.
conference league ties are so shit.
Yeah, but-
like
okay, they are,
so
but
bad.
I still believe Copenhagen proved to be more of a threat to Chelsea than
Yeah,
Leicester and Southampton.
Yeah,
I still think they were harder ties.
Yes,
We played an incredibly strong squad yesterday to start with. We've had Pedro Neto play, I think, 80 minutes probably, going into a game where, by the way, we're doing that with a guy that's had not the best injury record. Although this season he's been managed really well, I'm sort of waiting for that hamstring to go at any point. And maybe I'm pessimistic, but statistically it would show that it's well overdue.
The fact he's done both of them means you've almost like doubled the chance.
I'm getting slated for saying that, but there are issues with Chelsea's team now. With if you look at that fixture list and how difficult it is, the fact that 5 more fixtures have now been added in, and there's sort of more and more travelling, 5 fixtures, like 5-6 players off the back of January lighter as a squad, still have injury issues, just lost Gusto to another injury. So Chelsea have a bit of an issue with rotation going into this.
Who's your next tie against?
Pardon?
Who's your next tie against?
Legia of Warsaw.
Here's the problem, Rory. I looked. Copenhagen are on paper the second team in Denmark. Liga Warsaw is the 4th in Poland. If they win, right, they play, I think, the 9th best team in Sweden or something like this, bro. Like,
it's getting serious.
It's getting. I think it gets worse. Then, like the teams go
it's
down.
more of a. It's not the quality of the team that we're playing.
I'm not slagging you off. It's like you didn't put the competition. You didn't put the competition
It's
together.
not the quality. It's not the quality of the team, right? But it's the fact that you have to. It's a numbers game in terms of the squad, and Chelsea have left themselves light in the sense that they've had a number of injuries occur that they probably didn't account for in January, and they've also removed half of the playing squad that started. This is exactly the problem. Me and Rory spoke about this ages ago. This is exactly the problem we foresaw, is that these players would moan about limited game time when the fixtures weren't there and when the fixtures were more important. And ultimately, they've all moaned. They've all gone out on loan. There's no financial gain apart from a couple of loan fees. But Dazasi's gone out on loan. Jalfidas has gone out on loan. Casadet's left. Vega. There's like 5-6 players that have departed Chelsea in January that were guaranteed starters in the Conference League for the first part of the competition. And that's
it's just an extra opportunity for players to get injured, isn't it? It's just an extra 180 minutes.
Why we're risking Casado? We're risking Cole Palmer when we're in need of a result. He's going to have to come on. We're risking Neto. We're risking players in the back line playing games. Reece James is coming on for 20 minutes.
And the thing
is, players that you shouldn't be risking in Conference League football against Legia Warsaw.
And the thing is, as much as the game doesn't mean much to you, for Legia Warsaw, it's going to be massive, which means you've got players on Legia Warsaw's team probably flying into tackles, desperately trying to do anything to win that game.
It's the biggest game they might ever play in their life.
Yeah, it is just an unnecessary risk.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. German Chicken Wing. Newcastle won against Liverpool in 24 and in 2014 and 2015. Fact check.
I got my stats off Opta.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just cup.
I have it here. Newcastle are winners in the last 17 meetings with Liverpool in all competitions. Drawn 5, lost 12. Since 2-0 win under Steve McLaren in 2015. Yeah, that would have been. Yeah, no, 17 games. 2015. Oh, I said 2005, did I?
You said 2005. You just misread it.
Sorry. Yeah.
The German Chicken Wing. Spot on.
So that, yeah.
AMT, will Chelsea play a low block anyway? No.
When have Chelsea played a low block this season? Like, it's just Maresca's got a system. He will play to it. Exactly. It's incredibly predictable to know how Chelsea will play in any fixture they play, pretty much. The only variations are which player does which role. That's pretty much it. Otherwise, it's very, very predictable football, I believe. And I think that's why teams have found it far easier to set up in a manner that frustrates Chelsea into a low in the game.
We won't set up like that, though. It could be an all right game in the end if both of us actually.
I think we'll enjoy it. I think it'll be great.
I will honestly take a 0-0 draw. Honestly, I'm concerned
I
about this
won't.
fixture.
Fucking
Chelsea's record, by the way, yeah, obviously,
Fed
I
up
don't
with
think
bloody
Arsenal
draws.
can sit there and say they'd take that when they won this fixture 5-0 last season. But ultimately, Chelsea's away form is horrific. I think the last win we had was against Arsenal at the Emirates when Lukaku scored in 21-22 season under Tuchel. Since then, I think Tottenham are the only team we've beaten away from home in the so-called Big Six. Like, our form away from home is diabolical. It's a huge chance that Arsenal are in the form that they're in that Chelsea could take, but I just don't see it happening. I've got no confidence off the back of the last 4 games Chelsea have played that suggests we're good enough to take the game to an Arsenal side that are capable of scoring goals without the players they've got missing in Champions League football, and ultimately in the Premier League they'll grind out results. I just don't see Chelsea having enough to do it, to be honest with you, especially with Cole Palmer out of form. He's our biggest goal threat, and the kid can't find the back of the net at the moment.
No, to Arsenal. Listen, if Arsenal score more than 2 goals in this game, I think that will give them a confidence boost that they need at the current moment. To be honest.
You know what? I can see it perfectly, right? That the set piece goals have dried up for Arsenal at this moment in time. Income Chelsea, set pieces. We've been not great this season. And I can just see it happening.
We'll see. Jack is saying, so Jack is a Liverpool fan. If Arsenal don't beat Chelsea, that's 2 wins in 8. Is that a crisis?
No.
Why not?
I think they're giving up in the
It
Premier
doesn't
League.
fucking
You know what I mean?
matter.
Yeah, they're giving up. They like
It doesn't matter. Rory repeated that 50 times.
It just doesn't.
the West Ham games. Just that's thrown in the towel. Do you know what I mean? It's done from that point.
If we were lining up for these games with Saka and Havertz and not winning them, then I'd be like, okay, this is a problem. But as it is, it's like, you know.
By the way, Sanchez might be in goal. Just to throw that one in there as well.
Nice.
No, then
nice.
a certain win.
Yeah.
The thing is with Arsenal as well is like even they do enough just to get Champions League and then they knock out Real Madrid somehow. Like that's all that matters. Do you know what I mean? That's all I care about now. So it doesn't matter how they perform in the Premier League. It's just about doing enough to stay in the Champions League places and then see what happens in the Champions League.
We'll talk about the Champions League in like the Real Madrid. I didn't want to touch on it today at all, by the way. You notice I didn't even ask one question about it.
No, we
got time.
Do you have Rory, just quickly on that? Do you have a fixture before that game?
Couldn't resist. He couldn't resist.
I just need to know because if that's Saka, you got 2. Oh, fine. We got under his belt.
Yeah, we got Fulham and Everton before.
Cool. Yeah, fine.
So,
yeah. Hold on. You play on Tuesday against Fulham. Okay, this international break is not as long.
No, it's longer. No, it's because I think the first fixtures after the international break are FA Cup.
Oh, for fuck's sake, they fucked us up.
So but then the gap is only like 3-4 days off the back of their FA Cup fixture. There's like 5 game weeks in April.
So we have 2 because normally international break you only actually have 1 weekend of no football, whereas it's going to, for Arsenal at least, it's going to be 2 weekends of no football.
Back to Dubai
last time we went there, we came back worse than we fucking left. But yeah, so we've got Fulham on the Tuesday, Everton at the weekend, and then Madrid on the Tuesday.
Yeah, and we play the same day, so I don't know what I'm going to do.
When is Saka be back soon? Is he back playing?
Well,
train or anything?
There's we don't know for sure, but there's hope that he is going to be back for the Fulham game straight after.
Everton, they said Everton or Fulham.
Maybe Fulham, maybe Everton.
Yeah.
They're keeping it under wraps.
Get him a half and then throw him in for against Madrid.
Arteta said today he's doing well, and then the next step is to throw him into team training and see how that goes.
So. Yeah, right then. Hopefully, because we need Arsenal to go through in the Champions League.
We do.
Otherwise,
no, Madrid.
No, we just don't understand the whole point. We're not going to be talking about anything.
If Madrid wins over, nobody cares. You know what I mean? It's just like
imagine it's April 8th. The season is over completely.
You know, it's crazy. It's crazy how much Premier League fans hate Arsenal, though. The fact that they're all rooting for Real Madrid.
I don't hate Arsenal.
Won it 15 times, or Arsenal fans, I should say. Yeah, because it's like on paper, really everyone should be rooting for Arsenal in terms of
Yes.
the team that's never won the Champions League.
I was rooting for
with
Atletico, just then I would have been
with
pretty
a relatively new manager. Yeah, Atletico before that, but it's just going to be a massive hate watch. But then I think most fans in Europe will want Arsenal to win.
Yeah,
Like
nobody
most
likes
fans
Real
outside
Madrid.
of the Premier League. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
nobody likes Real Madrid, bro.
Yeah.
No one. But the problem is, I know a lot of Italian fans that actually they don't like Arsenal just because of the fans. I think you're the loudest fan base and they just don't like you.
It is what it is.
Anyway, big up everybody that joined us. Rory Talks Football, Instagram, TikTok, of course, and also on Twitter and on YouTube. Of course, Rory Talks Football. Dan's channel as well in the description, Staffy TV, and of course, the football story with my man here. Absolutely phenomenal having you here, my man. It's absolutely great having you here. It was great. Tom didn't show up, but we're here, people. We'll see you guys soon. This will be redirected to the Football Terrace, of course, with the Straight Facts with Staffy and Terry. We'll see you guys soon, maybe tomorrow, and we're out of here, people.